Hello, everyone. Earlier this week, I posted this on LinkedIn, mostly to show the remarkable abilities of the Polynesian Rhino plugin, just showing that you don't have to redraw your models anymore if you start using Polynesian Rhino plugin. And I received a few comments. I think everyone liked the idea, but we had comments about, oh, is it real, or what's the quality of the models, or did you Photoshop some of this? So no, we didn't Photoshop anything, and we didn't clean up anything. This is just a screenshot after importing the model. In any case, I decided just to go ahead and record a video of you know, exporting the model from Rhino to all this platform and showing you how it works and just review the model quickly. This is not going to be like a workshop, but it's going to be a quick demo. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background about like where it came from. Actually, the idea of building it was, and building this Sydney Opera House building was, so when I was trying to figure out eQuest and get myself familiar with eQuest, I found this graphic in their tutorial, which was very interesting. Like it looks like the developers at the time they were like thinking, oh, we're making a software that you can model a building this complex. I don't know if anyone has ever modeled um, Sydney Opera House in eQuest, but that was kind of like became our goal of what if we just model it in eQuest and then update this graph, which is this graph. So now we have an updated graph with a real model of Sydney Opera House. So mission accomplished. But as part of that, we also exported to all the other platforms to make sure Polynesian Rhino works as expected. I will upload all the files to GitHub. There will be a link in the description of this video that you can go check. It will be here, Polynesian sample models. So you can download all of them and then play around with them as you want. So you can just check it out and give us feedback. Let us know if there is anything that you think can be improved. But as I said, when the models import, except for DesignBuilder that we still have to use gbXML, and there are minor issues, that the everything else just is ready to go. Okay, let's get it started. So here's the model in Rhino. You can find the HPJSON file and open it. It's a valid model. It has all this different rooms. We modeled it from a SketchUp model actually that we found based on that. But to export it to eQuest, let's start with eQuest because that was the reason we built this model in the first place. So first thing, you have to make sure the model you have solved adjacency because eQuest expects you to have interior and exterior faces separately when you put the model in. It doesn't solve it itself, unlike some of the other programs that like IES VE or IDEIS, and even DesignBuilder. So you have to do that. This model we already have done solve adjacency, and I'll just go ahead and export it to eQuest. So save as. This is the place. Just right click here, go eQuest geometry. It's an IMP file format. Save, and it should save it to INP. I'm going to keep this real time. I'm not going to cut or make it faster so you can see the speed. Here we go. So this is the INP file. Now I can go and open it in eQuest. So open, change this to INP, go to this one, and this is the file that we just generated. Okay. And it will take a few seconds for eQuest to basically load the whole model, but there will be no errors. And if I remember correctly, even no warnings. Oh, it actually started on the other screen. So here you go. One thing that I'll show you, you might see, like because this model has non-rectangular apertures and windows, and eQuest cannot handle that, or Do2 cannot handle that. We basically break down those windows into small rectangles. And you can see it's around 7,000 lines, 70,000 line actually. We need 5 more lines. 99%, it tries a little bit, and then it should open the file. Here you go. So here it is. All the levels are there. So level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. And then you have, I don't know what's called, I forgot, room or zones. And you have 3D geometry too. So this is what I meant by fixing the aperture or windows while we're importing. And if you know how to pan in eQuest, please let me know. I can't figure it out. But these are all the apertures. Everything is imported. As you saw, there was no error messages or warning, so the model imported to eQuest successfully. Okay, so this is the first one. Next one, let's go for OpenStudio. So OpenStudio is also similar to eQuest. You want to make sure solve adjacency is done. So I'm going to type save as. And this time I'm going to select OpenStudio model, OSM, and press save. So for OpenStudio, we use OpenStudio SDK. And because we use OpenStudio in Pollination ecosystem to run all the simulation, we use it on Pollination Cloud. When you export to OpenStudio, it's not only geometry, you get all the construction, you get all the schedules, you get all the loads. Everything basically is a fully simulatable model that goes to OpenStudio. It will take a few seconds, and then we should have the OpenStudio model also ready. Here is the OSM file. Let me go here. File, open OSM. Discard the older one. So the file is imported. If I go to geometry, this one, so you'll see the geometry here. And in this case is like basically geometry translation is one-to-one. Whatever we had in Pollination Rhino is now inside OpenStudio. Again, you see no error messages whatsoever. And as I mentioned, it's more than just the geometry. You get all the construction and everything. In eQuest, actually, we also export all the construction right now, but we don't do all the schedules yet. It's mostly geometry. Okay. Next, let's go for IES VE, I guess. So before I export the model to IES VE, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run PO rebuild rooms command, and I'm going to merge coplanar faces and reset boundary conditions. So everything will be set to outdoors. And I actually, one thing I do, I usually turn off the preview just in case. PO rebuild rooms. The reason I'm doing this is to make it easier for IES to import. It's basically a cleaner model for IES because IES does solve adjacency between different rooms built inside when you import the model. So you don't need the model to have all the intersections and all those. So okay, now the model has no intersection. Everything is set to outdoor. I save as. This time for IES is gem. Here, IES gem, save. This will take a few seconds. IES necessarily doesn't have any geometry limitation. It has the challenge with rooms with holes, but that's a different thing. For this model, we don't have any issue like that. Import beam model gem, and this is your gem file. And just to make sure for options, we check validate closed shells, intersection, and adjacencies. So open, excuse me. And here is the model. So everything is imported correctly. It's okay. You can see all the rooms here, one by one, all the local shades. And let's do a 3D preview too, so you can see it. Yeah, so this is the model again. Like all the geometry comes in without any issues. Because this is gem, gem is only geometry, so it's the only thing that really gets exported from Pollination and imported into IES VE. So, okay, what is left? So let's go for IDA Ice next, and then we wrap it up with Design Builder. Okay, so IDA Ice is similar to IES VE. You don't want to do solve adjacency, so save as. And in IDA Ice, actually, you don't do it because if you have faces on top of each other, it gets IDA Ice confused. So IDA Ice. One option here to check, make sure you set the wall thickness to 0. I mean, for this model, because we didn't really model the wall thickness, the faces are touching. I mean, this is not the best way for modeling for IES, but for this model, please give me a pass for this one. I mean, we can move the faces apart, but yeah. So now this should save to IDM format. Again, that's native format for IDICE that imports the files. We can translate constructions and things like that, but we have not uh, done it yet. So right now it's only, again, geometry. Everything else is set to default. So you can see this is IDM file. So I go here and I'm going to file, open this one. IDICE might take a little bit of time to import this model. If it takes a very long time, I might just fast forward it during the video so we don't wait here watching this thing turn around. But as you saw, the exporting process is quite fast, so you can generate an IDM file um, quickly. Yes, this is taking longer than what I like. So yes, again, this is not something that we can really improve on our end, but I think I'll fast forward this part before uploading the video. Okay, and here we go. So no errors on that. Everything is here. 3D takes a few seconds. So one thing that has changed, and you'll notice, is some of this roof elements are converted to wall for some reason. I think probably because of the angle. I don't know how to overwrite that, but other than that, the apertures are in and they're clean. And even though IDOS doesn't support non-rectangular apertures, if you make it larger, it just crops it for you, which is pretty cool because then you don't have to create all those additional ones. Yes, and you have all the floor plans too. So For the ones that extruded, they're not what's called protected, so you can basically change everything. But for the ones that are not, then it's a protected geometry. It's a 3D geometry, but everything should be there. Yes, you can see it here. Okay, so this one, and last but not least is Design Builder. So let's go there. Okay, so for Design Builder, we unfortunately still have to use gbXML. Um, the good news is that for their new upcoming release, Design Builder developed their own file format, their own XML. Design Builder XML will be dbXML, and hopefully using that will resolve all the smaller issues that you will see. But the gbXML importer actually did a decent job when we tested it with the gbXML of this model. It's not perfect, but it gets you close. And again, like when we do implement the dbXML, then import to Design Builder should be similar to all the other tools that we currently have. Also, while this one is saving to gbXML, I should give a shout out to OpenStudio team because we are using OpenStudio SDK for all the translations to gbXML. We rely on their work. So here I have been through the steps in Design Builder to export the gbXML. I don't want you to wait for all those steps, but here is the one that we just created. Next. So you'll see that it imported everything. I'm not going to import thermal um, properties, and I don't really know like separation tolerance. I think this is a good number. Just leave everything to default, and it's going to process all the blocks. And the model should show up in a few seconds. Here we go. So you see, overall it looks okay. It doesn't look bad, but then when the report comes, actually, now that I didn't solve adjacencies, maybe there are not as many issues. Let's see. So you see like all of them here. No, you can see them. I see like that red thing means they're not fully closed, right? So it says imported all this. Would you like to view? Yes. So these blocks, it says like they're not fully enclosed, one or more gaps. And these are the things, that's why I say like we can't rely on gbXML in our interoperability because it's just you don't know what happens. And I don't know that I'm not that good in Design Builder to understand what's happening. But again, it's a gbXML thing, and I like solving it is really like out of the scope of what we can do. So we will write a translator to dbXML format, and hopefully that will solve that, like how Gem solved it for IES VE. And I'm going actually to import the gbXML file to IES, so you see like what's the difference. So, and one thing that has changed here, similar to IDA eyes, you see like some of the faces here based on angle, they have changed to be wall instead of being roof, which I'm sure there is something somewhere that you can set to control this. But yeah, like it says it's not fully closed. I don't know how much work it is to fix those. But this is basically Design Builder. So to close out this presentation, I'm going to use this XML file, gbXML file, and import it in IES. So we'll see. You'll appreciate what Design Builder has done here, actually, I think. Okay, so they have create from Beam, browse, the same XML that I just opened, and then geometry only. So just keep it as simple as possible. and create project. So this is the same gbXML that I just imported to Design Builder, if it wasn't clear. So you'll see it tries to import them and tries to do some fixing on top of the geometry too. And the plan view is not that bad, right? Like you just check at it. It says like there are some issues here. But then you see those colors are not the same, and that's not a great sign. So this is what is actually happening. So yeah, the ones that are like the few ones here that are mostly extruded came in fine, but then you get here and then you have this kind of moments that I don't know how to describe. I don't I think if let me see if I can just visualize those two. Yeah, so these are no, I think it's still the same. So okay, I hopefully like it just tells you why it's important to have a new file format that or a new interoperability platform that takes care of this translation and takes responsibility from end to end. That if your model is valid, it should be exported to other platforms without any issues. Um, okay, so this will be the end of this video. I don't know, it's not a tutorial. I don't know what I call it. Sharing the background about like this Sydney Opera House. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you see why like we think the Pollination Rhino plugin is something that more energy modelers and or more people who are involved in building performance simulation should start using and stop redrawing models from scratch one by one. We have a few upcoming workshops. If you're interested to learn more and go through a 3-hour workshop, we have workshops, virtual workshops actually, as part of the Chicago Innovate event, and then we have both virtual and in-person workshops as part of the AEC Tech event in New York. So yes, we will post everything on LinkedIn, so just follow us there and you'll get access to all of them, and hopefully you can sign in or sign up. Uh, we are considering like around 20 seats for each workshop, so you should be fine. It should be enough seats for everyone to get to get in and like learn more about the plugins, both the Rhino plugin and the Revit plugin. And another reminder, I will upload all the files to GitHub, so you can go download it from there. I'll copy the link in the bottom in the description of this video. With that, thank you so much, and let us know if you have any questions. Best place as usual is discourse.pollination.cloud. We'll see you around. Thanks.